Have you ever felt like you're just stuck? You know, you set these big goals, you try all the latest strategies, you're putting in the effort, but it's like your brain keeps hitting some invisible wall.
That feeling of resistance.
Yeah, pulling you back to the old ways, leaving you feeling like you haven't moved at all. It's so frustrating.
It really is.
But here's the thing, and this is kind of surprising. It might not be your tools or even how hard you're trying.
Right.
It might actually be a mismatch, like how your brain is wired right now versus this incredibly fast world we're in, 2025.
Exactly. The operating system needs an update.
Totally. So this deep dive is all about figuring out that mismatch, why maybe things haven't clicked before, and more importantly, what you can actually do, like right now, to upgrade that mental wiring for the future.
And that stuck feeling, that friction, it's not just you imagining it, it's neurologically real. We can see it.
Wow. Okay.
So today, we're going to cut through some of that confusion. We're drawing on some powerful ideas, principles, kind of like you find in Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect.
Okay. Love that book.
Yeah, great stuff. And it points to this truth. Massive success. It's usually not about some giant leap.
Right. No magic bullet.
No, it's built on those small, consistent, smart choices you make every single day. So think of this less like just listening and more like your personal brain upgrade plan for 2025.
I like that. A brain upgrade plan.
Yeah. So in the next few minutes, we're going to look at how you can get that focus back, with all the digital noise.
Well, it's relentless.
Totally. How to build real consistency, get over that fear of putting yourself out there.
That's a big one for creators.
Huge. And ultimately, how to kind of hardwire success pathways for this new world of AI and, the whole creator economy. Because let's face it, if you're running on a 2019 mental program,
You're playing catch up already.
You're already behind. It's time to consciously rewire.
Okay, rewire. That feels active. I like it. So where do we start? What's the first step in this rewiring process?
Well, the first big piece, and it's something really successful people often do, maybe intuitively, is about pre-programming success.
Pre-programming.
Through something we can call mental rehearsal.
Yeah.
It taps right into that compound effect idea, small, consistent actions add up. But here, the action is internal.
Okay.
It's about vividly imagining your desired outcomes, really picturing them like they've already happened.
So not just wishful thinking.
Not at all, because the fascinating thing is your brain. It doesn't really distinguish that strongly between a real experience and one you imagine with enough detail and emotion.
Huh, really?
Yeah. The neural pathways that fire up, they're remarkably similar. So you're essentially giving your brain a neurological dress rehearsal for success. You're strengthening that mental blueprint before you even take the external action.
Okay, that makes sense. But why is this so critical right now in 2025 specifically?
Good question. Because the environment has changed so drastically. Think about it. The sheer volume of digital noise.
Constant notifications.
Right. AI content everywhere. Industries shifting super fast. It's information overload on a massive scale.
Leads to that paralysis, right? You don't know what to focus on.
Exactly. Decision paralysis, burnout. We see it everywhere, especially with creators. So, mental rehearsal. It stops being a nice to have.
It becomes essential.
It's a non-negotiable tool. It's how you intentionally design your future in your mind, cutting through that chaos. You solidify your vision, make it like an anchor.
So your brain isn't just overwhelmed and drifting.
Precisely. You're building your internal GPS, directing where you want to go instead of just reacting to everything coming at you.
Okay, so practically speaking, how do we actually do this mental reversal? How do we make it work?
Great. Let's get practical.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. Find, say, 5 to 10 minutes each morning. Quiet spot if you can.
Okay, 5-10 minutes.
Close your eyes and really immerse yourself in a specific outcome you want. And the key is feeling it.
Not just thinking about it.
Right. Engage your senses. If it's a successful product launch you're aiming for, don't just see the sales numbers pop up.
What else?
Hear the positive feedback. Feel that satisfaction of making an impact. Maybe even, taste the metaphorical champagne.
Okay, now I get it. Make it real.
Make it vivid. If it's a tough conversation you're dreading, rehearse it going smoothly. Feel yourself being calm, clear, confident.
So you're building the neural pathway for that outcome.
You got it. You're actively strengthening the pathways for peak performance. And you can layer in affirmations too if that works for you. Like, I'm the kind of person who achieves my goals.
Yeah, mind attracts opportunities. Stuff like that.
Exactly. Whatever resonates and reinforces that future self, you're rehearsing.
Can you think of like a big example, someone who embodies this?
Well, think about Elon Musk. Obviously known for his intense work ethic, right?
Sure.
But a huge part of his genius, maybe, is his incredible ability to not just plan, but to internally simulate these futures that seem impossible to everyone else.
Reusable rockets, Mars colonies.
Self-driving cars everywhere.
Yeah.
He doesn't just make a roadmap. He seems to mentally live in that future already.
Ah, okay. So it's an extreme version of mental rehearsal.
Totally. It creates such a clear, powerful neurological blueprint that it helps him push through setbacks, stay focused, iterate like crazy.
The compound effect, but applied to his internal vision.
Exactly. That vividly imagined future becomes the foundation. It really shows you the power of pre-programming your reality.
That idea of pre-programming is, yeah, it's really sticking with me. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. You mentioned something earlier, kind of provocative. This idea that our brains can get sort of addicted to failure. That sounds rough. Let's unpack that. How do we break that cycle?
Yeah, it does sound harsh, doesn't it? But it's about patterns. See, most of us, myself included sometimes, operate on autopilot a lot of the time.
I was going through the motions.
Right, and those small choices, checking your phone instead of starting that task, putting off an important call, that negative self-talk loop.
They seem tiny in the moment.
Tiny, but they accumulate, like the compound effect in reverse. They carve out these deep neural pathways. Your brain loves efficiency, right?
Wants an easy path.
So it just defaults to these well-worn, comfortable paths, even if they lead straight to procrastination or self-doubt, even if they're bad for us.
So it's not about lacking willpower necessarily.
Not just that, it's about needing to consciously interrupt those automatic, unhelpful patterns and then deliberately replace them with new ones that actually serve you.
And why is breaking this loop so vital in 2025?
Because the environment actively encourages these negative loops now more than ever.
How so?
Think about it. We're always on. Algorithms are designed to hook you, keep you scrolling. The pressure in the creator world is intense.
Yeah, the comparison trap.
That plus the fear of AI taking over, getting left behind, just amplifies everything. Procrastination, doubt, burnout. These cycles get stronger and faster.
And if you don't actively break them?
Your brain just keeps running the old, comfortable but detrimental program. And in this fast-moving world, the cost of staying stuck, of inaction, it compounds incredibly quickly. It's not really an option anymore if you want to thrive.
Okay, so challenge acknowledged. How do we fight back? What's the strategy to break these loops?
All right, here's a practical 3-step strategy. You can start this literally today. Step 1, awareness.
Just noticing.
Exactly. Pick one specific negative loop you really want to change. Maybe it's mindless scrolling. Maybe it's that inner critic that pipes up. Maybe delaying exercise. Whatever it is.
Okay, got one in mind.
Good. Now, for 1 week, just track it. Every single time it happens. No judgment. Just, there it is again. Like a scientist observing data.
Okay, awareness first. Then what?
Step 2, pattern interrupt. The instant you catch yourself starting that loop, do something completely different. Physically different. It could be anything. Stand up, stretch, do 10 jumping jacks, put on a specific song, your interrupt anthem, take a few deep breaths, anything that jolts you out of that automatic track.
Break the circuit.
Break the circuit, physically and mentally. And then immediately, step 3, replace.
Okay.
Follow that interrupt with a pre-planned positive action. If you stopped yourself scrolling, maybe you immediately open a book or your notes app to capture an idea or start that task you were avoiding.
So interrupt, then immediately pivot to something constructive.
Yes. And the key here isn't perfection. You'll miss it sometimes. It's about consistency. Consistently interrupting the old pattern and reinforcing the new one. That's how you rewire.
That makes sense. Interrupt, replace, repeat.
Got
it. Any examples of people who've done this effectively?
Oh, definitely. Think about Alex Hormozy. Super successful guy now, right?
Yeah, huge online presence.
But he talks very openly about struggling massively with procrastination, with self-doubt earlier on.
Really? You wouldn't guess.
Right. But his breakthrough wasn't just trying harder through willpower. He actually engineered his environment.
Engineered his environment. What does that mean?
He created super strict, non-negotiable routines, systems. He set things up so that doing the productive thing was actually the path of least resistance.
Made it harder not to do the right thing.
Exactly. He made it harder to fall into the old, unproductive patterns than it was to just follow the new productive system. It's a brilliant example of consciously breaking those negative loops by changing your surroundings and inputs.
So you're designing your world to help your brain succeed.
You got it. Making your environment work for you, not against your goals.
That's really smart. Okay, so we've covered mental rehearsal, breaking negative loops by engineering your environment. What's the third key piece for this 2025 rewiring?
This one is about activating what's sometimes called your executive function. We're calling it your CEO mode. It's about using your frontal lobe intentionally before you make decisions.
CEO mode, I like the sound of that. Using your frontal lobe.
Yeah, that's the part of your brain responsible for planning, focus, impulse control, thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Your executive control center. And the core idea here is that every choice, even the tiny ones, pushes you either towards your goals or away from them. That compound effect again.
It applies to micro decisions too.
Absolutely. So activating CEO mode is about bringing conscious awareness and responsibility to those choices, using that higher level thinking part of your brain.
Instead of just reacting on impulse or habit.
Exactly.
And why is this specifically urgent for 2025?
Oh man, the sheer volume of decisions we face now is just staggering, isn't
They're
it?
overwhelming sometimes.
Right. Micro choices about new AI tools, social media strategy, bigger business decisions in this constantly shifting creator economy.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't intentionally engage that CEO mode, that frontal lobe, you risk just making impulsive, reactive choices.
Leading to burnout, scattered focus.
Missed opportunities. Yeah. It's about being proactive, taking conscious control, instead of just being pulled around by everything demanding your attention. Taking the reins of your own thinking.
Okay, taking the reins. So how do we do that? How do we activate CEO mode in the moment?
Here's a really simple but powerful technique. Before any decision that feels significant, could be big or small, just pause. Pause for like 60 seconds.
Just a minute, okay.
That's your frontal lobe activation window. And in that pause, ask yourself two key questions.
What are they?
One, does this choice align with my long-term vision? And two, is this moving me closer to the person I actually want to become in 2025?
Okay, so making it tangible before I jump on social media.
Pause.
Yeah.
Ask, is this really contributing to my growth right now, or is it just a distraction? Before firing off an email.
Pause. Ask, is this the absolute best use of my energy right now?
Exactly. That simple pause forces your brain out of that automatic reactive mode and into a more conscious, strategic space.
And it brings intention back.
Totally. And a great support habit for this is writing down your top, say, 3 priorities for the day each morning.
And referring back to them.
Yeah, refer back before making those choices throughout the day. Does this action serve one of my top 3 priorities? It keeps your CEO mode focused.
That's practical. I can see how that would work.
Yeah.
Who's a great example of someone operating in this CEO mode consistently?
I think Oprah Winfrey is a fantastic example. Look at her career trajectory.
Okay, yeah, incredible.
It's really a masterclass in deliberate, values-driven decision-making, isn't it? She didn't just chase every trend or react to every opportunity that came her way.
No, she seemed very focused.
Incredibly focused. She built an empire by consistently making choices that aligned with her core purpose, empowering people, uplifting them. Even under enormous pressure, she kept that clear vision.
She used her intuition, her higher faculties.
Exactly. She consistently engaged that CEO mode, that frontal lobe, before making the big moves. It's not about being perfect, but about consistently checking in. Does this align? Does this serve the bigger picture? That's how real lasting impact is built.
Wow. Okay, so mental rehearsal, breaking failure loops, activating CEO mode. These are powerful concepts. Let's try and wrap this up. What's the big takeaway here?
The big takeaway is you are not broken. Let's start there.
That's important to hear.
Yeah. You're likely just wired for a world that doesn't quite exist anymore, for yesterday's world.
Okay.
But in 2025, the people who are really going to thrive, the ones who will seize the opportunities, are the ones who make a conscious, deliberate choice to rewire their brains on purpose.
Stop just reacting.
Stop reacting to the fire hose of information and demands. Start actively rehearsing the future you want. Start building a brain that's optimized for this world, for tomorrow, not stuck in the past.
And these things we talked about, they're not just interesting ideas.
No, they're a practical blueprint, a blueprint for neurological transformation. When you consistently make these small, smart choices, rehearsing success, breaking old loops, pausing to engage your CEO mode,
You're not just changing habits on the surface.
you are fundamentally altering your brain's operating system. You're making success less about luck or random chance and more, well, almost inevitable. You're building the infrastructure for it.
Making success inevitable. That's a powerful thought.
And look, embracing this change, this rewiring,
Yeah.
it might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, like any new skill or exercise.
Yes, change can be awkward.
Totally. But that discomfort, that's
Yeah.
where the real growth happens. Trust the process. Because your future self, the one who's achieved those goals, they're literally waiting for you to make these choices, starting right now,
Yeah.
today.
So for everyone listening, thinking about this,
Yeah.
armed with these insights into how changeable your brain really is, what's maybe one default pattern, one limiting belief you hold, or even one tiny habitual choice that you are ready to consciously interrupt or reshape this week? Really think about that. Visualize making that different choice. Make it an active first step in your own rewiring journey.
And maybe take it one step further. What new future memory are you going to start vividly rehearsing today? Really knowing that your brain can learn to treat that rich imagination almost like reality.
Wow.
The power really is right there, inside your head, to build the brain for the future you truly desire.
This has been, genuinely transformative.
Wow.
A real deep dive into rewiring your brain for 2025. Keep exploring these ideas, keep practicing,
Absolutely.
and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.